It's a lot of work.
I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Please join me and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Were you standing, Kathy?
I can hear you.
Roll call, please, Jason.
Sarah Sarda.
Here.
Terry Crandall.
Here.
Kathy Greenaway.
On Zoom?
Jill Sternquist is absent tonight, and Franny Kiefer.
Yes, here. We have a quorum. Moving on to number 2, approval of the agenda as presented.
I make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please, Jason.
Sarda.
Yes.
Greenaway.
Yes.
Crandall.
Yes.
Kiefer.
Yes. Minutes of the April 11th school board meeting.
I move we approve the minutes of the April 11th school board meeting.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Crandall.
Yes.
Sarda.
Yes.
Greenaway.
Yes.
Kiefer.
Yes. Moving on to number 4, direct conflicts of disclosure. Kathy, would you like to address that?
Well, I'm going to disclose that I'm going to have a conflict with item H on the consent agenda.
Okay. All right, a motion to approve the direct benefit request for school board waiver.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Crandall.
Yes.
Sarda.
Yes.
Greenaway.
Yep. Yes.
Kiefer.
Yes. Okay, that is granted. Moving on to 5, the consent agenda. We will be pulling H off of the consent agenda, and we are adding M, which was given to the board members. Any other items that would like to be pulled off? Oh, excuse me, I'll go back to indirect conflict of interest. Does anyone have any indirect conflict of interest to disclose? Hearing none, we'll move on. Thank you, Mr. Crandall. Okay, consent agenda with H removed and M added, an addition on there. Any other items? Okay, I will entertain a motion.
I make a motion to
Motion
hold. Go ahead, Kathy.
Motion to approve the consent agenda with the removal of H and addition of M.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Greenaway.
Yes.
Sarda.
Yes.
Crandall.
Yes.
Kiefer.
Yes. All right, H of the consent agenda, Dave Greenaway work agreement amendment. I will entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the Dave Greenaway work agreement amendment.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Sarda.
Yes.
Crandall.
Yes.
Greenaway.
Abstain.
Kiefer.
Yes. All right, that is approved. Moving on, public comment. Mr. Beets, has anyone signed up for public comment?
No, we do not have any tonight.
All right, moving on, we have Mr. Mitzel and Mr. Clemish with us tonight for good news.
Well, good evening and thank you. So just going to share some end of the year activities at Beal School. It was April 27th, we held our annual carnival, and our parent organization is called BEST. They do a fantastic job of helping me organize that. One of the great things this year was we had probably 35 different Mount Marty athletes and coaches that were there to help run the games and support us, so we're very appreciative of Mount Marty, and their athletes always seem to have fun with our kids, and they're young and like to joke around and give the kids a hard time as they're throwing footballs and shooting basketballs and doing their different things. So I sent something to Mr. Bernardo at Mount Marty and had great support from them. We have a kindergarten sing coming up on Wednesday this week. We're excited for that. There's usually lots of year-end type of activities. Today we had the Zoo-mobile at Beetle School for our kindergartners as well. So that was fun. Our fifth graders toured the Yankton Middle School last week, and that's always an exciting day for them. And then our school counselor, Mrs. Sherman, works with our classroom teachers, and we do kind of our own mini tours for the next couple of weeks anyways, where our first graders all get to travel to the second grade rooms and hear from our second graders about what that feels like, and we just keep moving up the grade levels that way. So in Beetle, we kind of, there's some spots of the building that kids don't always get to, so taking them to a new area or a new wing and helping with that transition is certainly important. So that's what I have. Any questions?
No, thank you. I like you bringing up Mount Marty University. We've got such a great relationship with them and the school district, so it's great to hear all the collaboration and partnerships going on.
And I'll share my funny here. Mr. Doracek kind of saved me today because about 7 minutes ago I was entering the high school and he said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Going to the board meeting." To the board meeting. So yes, we raced over here.
Carrie, when we moved from, Jerome would know this, when we moved from the old middle school to the new middle school, which is, you know, the middle school now, I pulled up to the old middle school to go to work, and I'm like, this is weird, there's no one here.
Quiet day.
It's a bad feeling.
Well, believe me, I've shot past bus city limits and headed to Stewart School a couple of times. First to hit that. Let's see. Matt, can you put up my, sorry, got it, all right. All right, last Tuesday and Wednesday, we had our kindergarten screen, and welcome the class of 2036. So that's kind of exciting, class of 2036. We've been doing kindergarten screen probably 30 plus years. We screened 151 kids. We don't screen junior K from our current junior K kids, but we do screen the junior K kids for next year. Currently, we have 208 students registered for kindergarten, which is really great news because currently we have 207 kindergarten at the end of April, and well over 50 kids registered for junior kindergarten. So those are really good numbers. All right. Our second slide, our kids are always welcomed by our friendly staff, and it's just exciting. It's just an exciting time of year to get the new recruits to come into school. For the first 30 plus years, we met at the community library, and that's where we would have this. Now the last 3 years, we've been doing it at Yankton High School. And you know, with Teacher Appreciation Week, I'd just like to thank, you know, our speech therapist, our SPED, our junior K, our kindergarten teachers, our coaches and interventionists. It just takes a lot of people. Our YHS custodians who made the recommendation to move it on the other side of the gym, away from the blower fans, and it worked out great. Our principals, and even our maintenance guys who go to all the buildings and collect all the tables and chairs putting out. It just takes a great group of people to put that, so I really appreciate that. Especially my secretary, Ashley Becker. This was her first round. She did a super job putting it together. It couldn't have gone more smooth. Slide 3. This little guy, left-handed, man, look at that pencil grip. He's going to be a new recruit. I don't know who got him in the draft. Looks like a good one. And he's a hard worker, but like I said, the screen went really well. Our kids, this is where you get to see, school board, all of our fine work with our early childhood and our preschool. because we used to have kids crawling under the table, making a run for it, and we just didn't really have any of that this year. It just went so smooth. And that's because they've had early intervention and they've been, out and about in classrooms and working with adults, so that's great. Slide 4, this is what the 9 areas that we look at the screen. It's not an evaluation, it's a screen, but the assessment, that's what we look at, is all those areas right there. And then at the end, slide 4, we meet with the parents after the kids pick out a book and kind of go over the schedule and some of the, a lot of dates and information, and meet with the parents and the kids, and that's pretty much what Scream is all about. I do want to note that Allison Moon and Donna Wagner, we kind of had a little clap at the end, about 55 years of probably doing kindergarten Scream combined, and it was their last screen of kids last Tuesday and Wednesday, so kind of a shout out to those 2 staff members. Any questions?
Mr. Clement, I just want to say this, that contrary to popular belief, I'll not be in the school board in 2036.
Hey, that's a big number, but hard to believe at 2036. And they even have a year of graduation calculator. I didn't know that on the internet, but they do have one. All right.
Thank you very much. Perfect. Moving on, we have the Wellness Champions Committee, who is here to present on how their pilot program went for the 22-23 school year.
Well, hello. I'm excited to talk with you all about this program along with these ladies here. I'll introduce myself. I'm Andrea Indall.
Courtney Kramer.
Melinda Zook.
Emily Kinkelman.
Laura Harashek. And we are just a few of the wellness champions who represent each building, whether that's the administration, maintenance, and bus drivers, all of 4 elementary schools, plus the middle school and the high school. And this whole program really started towards the end of last year, where we started talking about what more can we do for staff here at Yankton School District to really promote their mental and their physical well-being. If we're mentally and physically well, we will be more successful in our jobs and be able to put forth 100% for our students. And so we really wanted to champion that. And so through this program, piloted, we hosted 3 separate challenges this year, one in September, one in January, and just one that we just had in April. And through these different challenges, there were different goals based on what the committees each thought of. And so I believe the first challenge was Yankton Middle School and Yankton High School hosted that one, and Melinda and Emily will talk about that in a moment. Stewart and Lincoln hosted the January challenge, and then to round us all off, Beadle and Webster hosted the April challenge. With each challenge, there were incentives also to participate, and about $5,000 per challenge was allotted for incentives, and those incentives ranged from anywhere from little gift cards from local coffee shops. We wanted to keep everything local so that we brought money back into Yankton. Yankton Thrive gift cards, and then of course Apple Watches. So all of that was a big hit, but I will let Melinda and Emily talk about their challenge.
All right. So our first challenge was a move challenge, where we encouraged the staff members to get moving, whether that was just walking or their favorite physical activity. We had a total of 155 participants, so it really got the staff revved up and ready to tackle the school year. What did you want to add to that?
Well, we did a lot of, it was encouraged to have 30 minutes of activity a day, physical activity a day. And I know at the high school we had group walks that we set up for any employees to participate in. Personally, I loved this challenge. I went on personal walks with colleagues and I was new to the school district. So I got to get to know them and talk to them. And it really promoted I think it was a great investment in just our personal health and our culture and community together. So.
Yep, and it helped people to stay accountable to their health goals. With the beginning of the year, it can be really busy, so having that as like a group activity really helped people to stay accountable and committed to their goals.
All right. So then I was a part of the Stewart and Lincoln Challenge, the January challenge. We started right off the bat, right after Christmas break. And this challenge was all about connections. So it was a little bit different than the MOVE challenge. Staff were encouraged to participate in making connections with other staff. And they did this by having conversations. And these conversations were led with questionnaires that our committee thought up, and they had to fill it out and talk to each other. One of the incentives was also a little coffee card, and it was also encouraged that maybe staff, if they won that challenge that week, they use that coffee card to go and take another staff member and have some coffee and have some conversation. And the feedback that we received from that was that, again, just like Emily mentioned with the September challenge, that people formed connections, formed a community, were able to do some fellowship within one another, and really formed a bond. We had over 100 people throughout the district participate in that challenge. This challenge, another bonus to this one, was that we started it off with a little bit of food, and that always helps. So each building got to pick out what kind of food or buffet they wanted to give their staff. So a lot of buildings did like a breakfast buffet, which is a huge hit. And we tried to keep it healthy with fruit and granola. I added in donuts at my building because I like balance. And so that was what we did for our January challenge.
And then for our April challenge, we made a calendar. And so all throughout April, the staff were able to kind of pick what they wanted to do. So we kind of paired ours with wellness and with mindfulness. So they were able to pick like a 7-minute workout they could complete. They could work out on their own, or we came up with a calendar of ideas for them to find a way to be mindful within their day. And overall, the positive comments we got for that challenge were really good because they liked all of the choices that they were given, and it helped them to be able to kind of pick and choose what they wanted to do for the month.
And I will say, I kind of crunched the numbers a little bit, and there were over 100 participants that completed that challenge as well. So we had really good participation for our first year trying this out. And so we did send out some surveys for some feedback, and overall we had an overwhelming response of positive feedback. I think it was over 94% positive feedback that they want this to come back next year. And so with that being said, all of us come before you guys to ask approval to continue this program and also ask for the same amount for next year, which is $15,000 to help fund our incentives for our challenge. Does anyone have any questions for us?
No, I don't think so. I was able to sit in on a couple of committee meetings, and it was great. So to hear the feedback and all the diversity, and I know Mrs. Reyes said even the April one kind of coincided with Think 3D a little, and so yeah, so I think it was really successful. So thank you for that. All right, hearing none, yeah, go ahead, Terry.
I move we continue the wellness program for the 23-24 school year.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I just have one question if I can hop in here. I know you gave some stats about the number of people that participated. So with continuing this on, do you have any considerations or thoughts of how you can, challenge yourself as maybe getting 25% or 20% more people involved in the activities?
They're coming back up, Kathy.
Yeah, sorry.
No?
All right, so this is one of the things that we are going to work on as a champion committee. I think this year was kind of working out a little bit of what did work and what didn't work. Our MOVE challenges were very popular. I think if we continue to do the MOVE challenges and then sprinkle in a little bit of that mindfulness all together so that we have that balance, I think we will have greater participation. Also, hopefully the people that did not participate saw how much fun it was to participate, and I think we can maybe do a little bit more PR work with that as well. But I think I can speak for our committee and say I think we can definitely move up at least 25%. Okay.
So what percent was it this year, do you know?
Out of the whole staff, let's see, how many work at YSD?
Probably over 400.
400. So we had, at the most, we had 155 people participate at one time. So,
For a pilot, that was.
for a pilot, yeah.
Any more questions, Kathy?
Nope, that was it.
Perfect. All right, roll call, please, Jason.
Crandall.
Yes.
Sarda.
Yes.
Greenaway.
Yes.
Kiefer.
Yes, so thank you all again for being the champions and spearheading this pilot program. It's exciting to hear the success of it. Next, we have Nicole talking about the summer learning board.
Yes, it's hard to believe summer is just around the corner, so I'm doing a share on behalf of Allie, who's not able to make it. This is the summer learning board that she put together for the end of the 22-23 school year. It will be shared out on all of our social media come the end of the school year, so just in a few weeks. Focuses on using a lot of resources and software that our kids are familiar with, use them in the classroom. They're linked and logged into ClassLink. She does denote there by the asterisk behind some of those opportunities that they are in ClassLink, so students are familiar with those, they log them in, and they can use them for some additional summer learning. This board is definitely geared toward our preschool through 5th grade, even into middle school students. And then I would also add that ClassLink, which is the driver of our software programs. A lot of resources that our classroom teachers use on a daily basis will be available most of the summer for students as well. So if parents are looking for opportunities for some educational things during the summer to do with their kids, this will be a great resource to have. It will be posted just the week after school gets out. You can find it on our website, on all of our live feeds, social media, and then also ClassLink. So that would be a great avenue for parents for the summer. Any questions?
No, I think it's a great resource. Any other questions from board members? Okay, Nicole will keep you up there for number 10 as we move into the return to school plan, which is a requirement that you will go over the updates for.
Yep. So our return to school plan has been live on our website for the entire school year. You can find it on the main page. If you scroll down to the very bottom, remember you have to scroll past those pictures that come up, and it's at the bottom there. Nope, you're good, keep going in the calendar section. Okay, so return to school plan. That's where you can access it. It's a live document, so anytime we've made any updates, changes, it's always active. The plan was created in response to the COVID pandemic, so this is our second year plan. And then, could you click on it for me, Jason? We have not made any changes more recently this year. The plan has been working really well, and it has continued to support our needs. So at this time, we're unsure of any requirements for next year's return to school plan, but we would open this up for continued parent community feedback, and all of your feedback can be directed to the building principals by June 1, and then by that time we should probably know what our requirements are as a school district for next year as well. Any questions?
No, that was just gonna be my one if this is gonna be an annual thing, but it sounds like we don't know yet, so.
Not sure.
Any other questions from any board members? All right, thank you very much, Nicole.
Yep.
Next up, another popular item is the summer 2023 fruit program. So Laura, you're back up again.
Yes, I'm going to talk about something fun, summer, right? So I'm Laura Horacek, I'm the Child Nutrition Director, and I just wanted to chit chat a little bit about summer food program this year. We're really excited, our team is really excited about offering the program again this year. We are going to offer dine-in service at Yankton Middle School, Stewart Elementary, and Webster Elementary from June 2nd to July 28th. The Yankton Middle School and Stewart will operate from 11 to 12:30, and Webster will operate from 11:15 to 12:15. Not only do we have some great menus planned, we also have some fun events for the kiddos. United Way, I've contacted United Way, and they're going to offer their Little Red Bookshelf again this year. So that's a great thing that the kiddos can grab a book on their way out, and they don't have to return it, or they can return it, it's up to them. We will be offering sack packs available every Friday, and the sack pack obviously consists of shelf-stable juices, snacks, and entrees for the weekend, and also some fresh fruit in there. And that will be every Friday throughout the summer. And then we are so excited this year to be collaborating with the Yankton Community Library in their summer reading program. I've contacted Dana Schmidt, the library director, and so we're going to work on kind of advertising both of our programs and, you know, try to mix and match what they're doing and with what we can offer the kids. So I'm really excited about that. And I'm also kind of working on some other fun ideas too. And we have flyers, or we will have flyers on the website for anybody that's interested in menus when they come out. So that's all I have, if anybody has any questions.
And this is for anyone in the public, correct? Like
Yes,
not just
I'm sorry,
students?
anyone
Yeah.
18 and under in the community can come free of charge. And then if adults want to eat with them, they are certainly welcome, and adult price is $4.90.
Fantastic. Yeah, I know it was a great success in years past, so
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
looking forward to it. I like
We're
the new
excited.
ideas. So. Any questions from anyone? All right, thank you very much, Laura. All right, next up, we had our first reading last month of the rental and use of facilities policy amendment. Jason or Dr. Kindle, do you want to give a brief overview of it, just to recap kind of what was discussed last month?
Yep, I can certainly do that. So within agenda item 12, there's 3 separate policies. So just so we're clear with the board, we'll need 3 actions on all the policies here. But to take the first one with the rentals and use of facilities. So what we're talking about and working with the city of Yankton, of course, the annual update is to the fee schedule itself. We do try to keep up with cost of living or inflationary increases for wages and make that reflective in our labor, or in our labor rates reflective in our rental rates. But new this year, we've worked with the city, and they'll be considering at the commission meeting tonight a tweak to the actual holiday schedules. And we have certain holidays that the school, of course, is closed in observance of holidays, but the Summit Activity Center remains open. That presents a lot of challenges for staffing the facilities on rentals during those occasions, which we covered last month. And so trying to find solutions and be fair to our staff, because some of those holidays in particular, such as Veterans Day and Easter weekend, you know, when people are around and they're still doing their normal routines, but our staff who supports those activities with custodial primarily becomes working on a holiday. And that's something that, you know, we've been studying that for a number of years and tried to work around it, so to speak, but we all know that labor is hard to find, and some of our staff, especially certain ones that support that activity, work every single rental. And it becomes, not only are they doing their full-time jobs for 40 or 45, 50 hours a week during the busy times, then they're working on weekend or a rental on top of that. So we felt it's really important that we give that consideration, and so what we're proposing is adding dates to our calendar effective July 1 that we won't be open to rentals that require support staff. And specifically, it's gonna be the holidays, you know, and those conjoining weekend dates where then our staff who might be making plans to go out of town can actually go out of town and not be called back because, oops, now there's a rental, I'm sorry, you had plans, but now you don't, now you have to work. And so we think it's the right thing to do, and we are in agreement with the city, and we'll, in fact, with your approval tonight, we have plans to meet tomorrow morning with city staff to make sure that we're all in agreement in how we put this together going forward. And what it really means for the community is we'll work with you and just find a different date. You know, it's not that we're saying no rental, we're just gonna have to be on top of it and making sure that everybody understands our reasoning. I'm sorry, that date's not available, but let's find a different date that can work for you. So that's really the essence of the policy change.
Perfect. Any questions for Jason on this from any board members? Okay. Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion for 12A.
Motion to approve that rental agreement 12A as listed on the agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please, Jason.
Greenaway,
Yes.
Crandall,
Yes.
Sarda,
Yes.
Kiefer.
Yes. Moving on to letter B, it's the Family and Medical Leave Act Amendment, and this is a second reading as well. This has just some updates from the current Department of Labor policies on who can request FML leave. Dr. Kindle or Jason, just a quick recap on what that was.
I can take that as well.
Okay.
It's been a busy policy month for me, but, so this one is exactly that. It's updating some links and references to Department of Labor, just making sure, you may recall in 2018, we had a policy rewrite, and we put a great amount of time and effort into that and worked with a law firm out of Sioux Falls that specializes in FMLA. So the policy itself is still solid. Everything is good with how we're doing it, and we're going to do though is take an additional step and actually create a form. And so what we've learned through some seminars and best practices, communicating and making sure that the employee understands what FMLA is, what their entitlements are, and making sure that as an employer we respond accordingly. And just having a form to be able to capture that information will help both sides. And so a great example, a very common example would be a maternity request. You know, we get those all the time, and many people don't really understand what FMLA is or how it relates to their sick leave or how they overlap. So that's just going to help us be better communicators and get all that information up front, and then us be able to articulate what it means. So with your approval tonight, then that'll become policy starting tomorrow.
Every employee gets a copy of the employee handbook once a year.
Well, it's available on the website. The handbook, yes, for the classified staff. Teachers would be, subject to the negotiated agreement, but the policy book lives in perpetuity on our website. And we do disseminate memos for updates to policy, but it is still ultimately all available all the time online.
Any other questions for Jason? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the policy part 7P, Family and Medical Leave Act Amendment as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Sarda,
Yes.
Greenaway,
Yes.
Crandall,
Yes.
Kiefer.
Yes. Okay, that is approved. Moving on to 12C, the Classified Employee Handbook. I know there are just a couple changes to this. Do you want to address those, Jason?
Yep. There are no language changes proposed for this handbook, and typically in years past, when we've had language and/or recommendations to the salary plan, we've brought this through as a first and a second reading to allow time to kind of process those changes. There's, have conversation about how that may or may not impact certain things. This year, there are no language changes, so I'm bringing a recommendation to you tonight. The only changes would be to our hiring schedule, which is located in the back of the handbook and the appendices. And so with your approval on the consent agenda tonight, we have, in essence, modified our wage plan, and we'll talk about our preliminary budget here in a few moments. So all of this just brings it all together. Now our handbook recommendation would be to increase our hiring base to allow us to continue to be good recruiters and attractive out in the marketplace as we're trying to find staff for vacancies going forward.
Perfect. Questions on the Classified Employee Handbook? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion.
I move we approve the handbook, the classified employee handbook as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Crandall,
Yes.
Sarda,
Yes.
Greenaway,
Yes.
and Kiefer.
Yes, that is approved. All right, moving on to number 13. It's the Jason Beach Show tonight, so.
You guys are gonna wear me out.
23-24 budget.
You know, if we can.
Well, Dr. Olson had requested that I give you a 45-minute dissertation on the budget. My last one, geez, Heather, I'd sure like to do that, but I don't think the board wants to hear me ramble for 45, and I think it's too nice out for anybody else to listen, so I'll try not to do that, so sorry, Heather. It is my last budget, and I told Dr. Kendall, second to last meeting, aside from the special meeting we'll have next week, but it's starting to sink in here a little bit. So tonight, we've got the preliminary budget, and by law, we are gonna have an action that will ask you to set your budget hearing date. So that'll be, after I'm done rambling here, you'll have a budget hearing scheduled for July 10th at around 5:15, and we'll publish the budget in usual fashion. This is the format that we normally publish. The budget is presented by functional level, and there's two parts to it. You've got a budget and a means of finance. So I'm not gonna go through all the details. We've got a lot of stuff here that's embedded, but the fact of the matter for this year's budget was really great news with state aid. As you all know, 7% increase to schools was unprecedented, and so that is reflected in our budget revenue projection. We've conducted and completed staff negotiations. All of our hiring to date through this agenda is reflected in the budget. We've now, with the action on the consent agenda, approved a salary plan, which you have taken that action. That is reflected for the classified staff in this preliminary budget. And we have just a handful of positions that remain open, due to recent resignations. We'll get those embedded in the July agenda, or a July version of the budget, which should be really close to adoption. This budget, in fact, already is really close to final. There are a couple of things that we're gonna circle back and look at, and some of that I purposely left because I want to show Shireen where things are at, like how I project utilities, some of the insurance things that are not health insurance, but the other property and casualty insurance items, supplies and materials, all of the usual things in our budget. There's a method to the madness, as they say, for how we go about doing these things. And we're perpetually looking at what past results have shown us. We look forward for what we have to reasonably expect. If we have student enrollment increases, we make adjustments when we need to. But for our general fund, where we're sitting right now, we would present a preliminary budget of $23.6 million, $23,684,446. And the one item that is not in this budget that will be in July is the remainder of the ESSER funds. So there's a lot of moving parts with our ESSER. As you recall, it was in three parts. A fourth if you consider some other one-time money the state gave right at the beginning of COVID. So Nicole Vallis and I have sat down and we've been reconciling this as we go. ESSER 1 is long done, water under the bridge. ESSER 2 wraps up this year. So we'll be spending out the remainder of those funds this summer, closing that fund. And then everything, all the activities that we've been doing with ESSER will roll over into ESSER 3 activities. And that money has to be fully obligated and expended by September of 2024. So we sat down last week and went through and reconciled and crosswalked, make sure we've got all of our staff counts and our other programming things that we're doing with staff training and some of the technology things we've done for learning loss. All of that in our ESSER budget is now making sure we're up to date and current, and we're within about, I would say within 2% of being fully obligated on that fund. So we've got a little bit there to work with yet for next year as things come up or as you start to put the finishing touches on that, and then ESSER funding will be done after next year's budget. So a really important distinction, and I'm sure you'll have more conversation about ESSER down the line, but that'll be added into your fiscal 24 when we get a little clarity as to where we're at between ESSER 2 and moving into ESSER 3. So with that, the only other highlight in the general fund, we do have our preliminary allocations for the title programs. Those are noted. Title I is up a little bit, $606,000. 2A funds are up a little bit, $182,000. And our Title IV money is up a little bit at $64,000. So Mr. Clemish will be sitting down and I'll assist him with some projections on some of the staffing that are involved with those programs, and then we'll get those grants submitted here sometime in June for their approval at the state level. Moving on to capital outlay. There's a lot going on in capital outlay, and Dr. Kendall and I have spent a lot of time here in the last couple of weeks working through that. A couple of really big projects that we're pretty excited about here. I'm going to move back up and just kind of show, and this is really small. I apologize, I can load up a little bit. Again, this is at a functional view, so you don't really see the project itemized list that I would see behind the scenes. But we've got some things that we've been doing and you've approved in various meetings here over the last 6 or 8 months. We've got a large parking lot project that we're taking on because we have to take care of our asphalt and our hard surfaces. So we've got a 5-year plan that we've put together with Bros Engineering. This is gonna be phase 1 this year, about $125,000. You've got a roof plan. We're gonna be tackling basically the Summit Activity Center end of the building at the high school, $538,000 project. Tonight on the agenda, you approved a propane tank upgrade. And for those that don't know in the audience, we're gonna be able to, we started a pilot with our propane system in our buses, and now next year with ordering 2 more propane powered buses, you'll have a fleet of 8 propane powered buses, necessitating a need to get a bigger bulk storage solution. And I'm pretty excited about that. I mean, being the accounting nerd, I guess, but it's gonna result in some significant operating savings for us to be able to buy bulk propane. So next month, I'll bring a recommendation to go out to bid on that. Our early estimates are just by upgrading the tank, you're gonna save about 30 to 35 cents a gallon more on your propane going forward. So that's a big deal. And that tank project has a quantifiable payback of just a couple of years. So that project will be kicked off here as soon as we get the POs issued. And at the middle school, kind of a cool project, we had planned over 2 years to paint the lower level corridors in year 1, and then year 2, the second floor corridors. Went out and got bids, and they were terrible. And so we're like, oh my gosh, what are we gonna do? Found a better solution, and we're actually gonna be able to get the entire building, corridors and stairwells painted for the same cost we thought it would take to do the whole building over 2 years. So we got a kind of a 2-for-1 in pricing. And it's gonna be able to work with the locker replacements that are gonna start this summer. So the middle school is gonna get a bit of a facelift this summer, and that's another pretty big deal. It's gonna take a lot of coordination, but we think we've got a good plan, and that should be getting started shortly after Memorial Day. So just a couple of highlights of really big items. I mean, they're scattered throughout this preliminary budget, and then we'll be bringing a draft of our capital outlay plan to you, if not June, July. I mean, there's with the construction project to be kicking off here shortly, got a few moving parts that we need to work through yet, but I think we can probably get the capital plan on the June agenda, at least for a first look. Special education, I guess I would just echo the same comments about the general fund. The disability categories were adjusted again for cost. So that means that the state aid values that you use to calculate based on child count were all adjusted. And then the negotiated contracts with teachers, updated pay plan with our supplemental staff, all reflected in this budget. So special ed is sitting at $5,968,000 currently for next year. Impact aid, there are no changes. It's $50,000 year over year with the Gavin's Point property that is reimbursed to us. Food service estimate is $2.3 million, and concessions fund is $103,000. So those are usually rollovers and pretty close year over year. The only item that's not on here tonight is a capital projects fund, which at the July iteration of the budget, when we have a better handle on the projected cash flows, we'll incorporate that into a preliminary budget as well. So all told, you'll have the addition of a 7th fund that has a budget, and that you'll see that on the next iteration. And then while we're on the topic of budget and finance, as you know, all the funding for the certificates, we closed all that out. Everything went very smoothly. So we do have, it's now reflected in your cash statement. If you looked at that at all, there's 27 million. It looks a little ballooned because there's all this money in the bank, but as soon as all that construction starts, you're going to start to see a cash drawdown. And Dr. Kendall and I have been working on the investment on the back end to try to make sure we maximize use of those idle proceeds for you. So a lot of moving parts right now. But again, no action tonight other than approval and setting your hearing date for July 10th.
Perfect. And then the board members will start budget work groups this week as well.
Yep.
And so lots going on with the budget and coming up. So Dr. Kendall, is there anything you wanted to add to?
I do, just 2 brief comments. One involves the ESSER funds. Just a reminder that we added a number of positions, and those positions will end at the end of next school year. Those staff have been reminded again when we issued contracts 3 weeks ago that next year would be the last contract year. And then many of those, they're fill-in positions for teachers that are out and about doing different things like throughout the district. They will return to their positions, and then hopefully we may have some openings that these other teachers can apply for because it's given them some really good experience, and we're appreciative of that. And the last thing I wanted to mention involves a special education fund. Yankton is not unique to this, but we will see some concerns with special ed funding down the road. Our fund will continue to go down, the fund balance, as will a lot of other schools. There are a lot of high-need students in Yankton and other school districts. We want to do our best to continue to offer them the best that we can. And there is a good chance that perhaps maybe 3 years from now that Yankton would be looking at the extraordinary cost fund. But we'll talk more about that regarding budget as we move along over the next couple of years, but I thought it was worth mentioning at this time.
Perfect. Any other questions? I think special ed is obviously a trend in the region, state, and nation, so. Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to set the budget hearing.
I make a motion to set a budget hearing for 5:15 PM on July 10th, 2023 at the Administration Building.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Sarda,
Yes.
Crandall,
Yes.
Greenaway,
Kathy, I think your phone's on mute. Or do we have her on mute?
yeah, no, she's on mute.
My apologies. Yes.
Thank you.
And Kiefer.
Yes. All right, that budget hearing has been set. Number 14, a special school board meeting. We will recommend an action to set a special school board meeting to discuss the Early Childhood Development Center with McGough Construction and set at that meeting a maximum guaranteed price contract. Anything else you want to add to that, Dr. Kendall? Okay. So I will entertain a motion to set that special school board meeting.
I move we set the special school board meeting to May 15th, 5 PM in this building.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Crandall,
Yes.
Sarda,
Yes.
Greenaway,
Yes.
Kiefer.
Yes. All right, the best for last, Mrs. Riken, number 15.
Waiting my whole life for that introduction.
Right?
That's never been me. But I would like to say I'm always pleased to come and report to school board meetings, but this ranks as one of my highest. And the committee wants the school board and our staff and community to know that we put a lot of time and thought into this. We feel very honored to have gone through the process, and we know that this doesn't just happen every other day, right? This is something that we are recommending to you tonight that will last for, who knows, 50, 60, 100 years. So with that being said, I thought first, well, I had to giggle because Jason gets excited about propane, and this is something that excites me, so it's a little different. But that being said, I'll take you back a little bit on the process to sort of remind you. So 7 committee members were on this committee, and I'd just like to publicly thank them. We had 2 parents, Kim Christie and Angela Mybaum. Franny served as school board member. Nicole served on the committee, and 2 teachers, Taylor Akery and Sarah Coxmick, along with myself. So we left our last meeting just really excited. I even got text that night and the next morning. It was really enjoyable to be a part of. So just to remind you, our committee set that timeline. So we really had a strong vision of involving the community, so that link was available on the website. Kelly did a few pushes through text and emails. Thanks to the P&D, I know that they did a story and a link through that, through the newspaper articles. So just shy of 3 weeks, we had that open. and very pleased to announce that we had 78 submissions of names based on the different criteria that we laid out. So pretty quickly, we were able to narrow down those 78 submissions to 26. We were able to do that mainly based on those criteria. Some of them were acronyms, which weren't really names, we didn't feel. Some were duplicates, so we were able to narrow down from that. So a reminder on the criteria that we had, there were 6 of them: timelessness, inclusivity, clarity, relevance, uniqueness, and respect. One thing that I did want to point out is that out of those 78 and then 26 is that only Kelly Casey saw who submitted those names. So all of us committee members had no idea who submitted any of the names, and we didn't until we chose the one that we're recommending to you tonight. So what happened then is that every committee member ranked from 1 to 26. And then Kelly put those in order for us. We came together and we just had a good discussion about them. So I'd like to share some of those with you before we reveal our recommendation. We had many good submissions, and we ranked them in order. And just to tell you, we didn't pick the top. I think the recommended name was like 12, maybe 12 down on the list because of our good conversation. But for example, the very top submission that came out ranking was Little Sprouts. Which we all thought was so cute and fun. But upon further investigation and discussions, it was not so unique. We did just a quick Google search, and there are more daycares and preschools and schools across this country named Little Sprouts than you can even imagine. And in addition, we considered timelessness. The first graders probably will be moving to this facility hopefully at one point, so we didn't figure that maybe these 7- and 8-year-olds wanted to be called Little Sprouts. Some other names that were submitted that we discussed, and keep in mind some of these had school after them, some of them had academy after them, some of them had learning center. Northfield, Skyline, Sunrise, Bridges, Quest, Grove, Meridian, The Hive, Inspiration Academy, Young Explorers, and the list kind of went on and on. So many of them were easy because you might remember one of the criteria statements was clarity. So we tried to imagine 4-year-olds saying something like Inspiration Academy. Maybe would have been a little bit tricky for them. We also did searches on just to see how unique they were, and we found things like different schools named that, or nursing homes named that, or coffee shops named that. So we try to keep that uniqueness piece at the forefront. Also the relevance criteria, which to remind you was to be based around the nature theme of the building, so we talked about that. So we narrowed down the list to our 2 top favorites, which were Meadowlark and Trailhead. And then we investigated further, what do they mean? So we looked at Meadowlark, we looked at what a Meadowlark bird looks like and even sounds like. We even listened to a little tweet of the Meadowlark, which was quite soothing to our ears. Meadowlark meant hope, positivity, enlightenment, and most cherished. So we had a discussion about that. Trailhead means probably just what you're thinking. It's the point at which a trail begins, a type of new beginning. So we did more discussion, and then we just conducted a silent vote and read through the votes sort of like Survivor. That's what we thought, you know, who was getting kicked off the island. Very happy to report we had a unanimous 7-0 vote. And so our recommendation includes the name. Very quickly, we just came up with a tagline, and then very quickly we realized there's a really cool acronym associated with it. So our committee is recommending, before I tell you that, I'm sorry. I didn't do that on purpose. Okay, here's the best part. This name was submitted by one of our very own 2nd grade teacher at Beadle School, Brittany Cromenhock. Did I say that right, Mr. Mitchell?
Cromenhook, yeah.
Cromenhook, okay, not very right. So she made the submission. We did not know that until we had all voted. So we think that makes it even cooler. So the name that we are recommending is Trailhead Learning Center, where the journey begins. The acronym would be TLC. What could be more heartwarming than that? I didn't just start crying up here. But we also talked about, from the beginning with just our early childhood programs, we've talked about we are trailblazers in this field. So the fact that we will now be called, we are recommending to be called Trailhead Learning Center is even more special. So questions, comments that you have?
My initials are TLC as well.
Oh! We did that, we got that.
Wonder how Terry's gonna vote on this.
No, I got goosebumps again, just hearing you say that again was exciting. So. Although Jeff Erickson this morning on KYNT when I was there had a suggestion he did not submit, but I thought it was kindergarten. So, anyway, the process was fantastic. I don't think any of us knew going in how it was going to work, and it was a fantastic job leading us, Mel, and yeah, we're excited. So, any questions or comments from board members?
Awesome name. Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah, this will be the first, experience with school that kids in our district will have. So it really is the start of the journey. So, all right. Well, I will entertain a motion.
So moved. I move we accept the name of Trailhead Learning Center as a name for our new early childhood education center.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Roll call, please, Jason.
Crandall,
Yes.
Greenaway,
Yes.
Sarda,
Yes.
Kiefer.
Yes. All right, congratulations, that's exciting. I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Yeah, I think
Thanks, Bruce.
I mean, my kids have been trying to get this name out of me for like 2 weeks. Like, how many letters? What's it start with? So, anyway, entertaining a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign? All right, we are adjourned.
Yes.
Good evening.
There we go. All right, good evening. Before we start, I'd like to give a reminder to please turn off and silence all cell phones because we've worked very hard and it would kind of suck if it was ruined by a cell phone. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Yankton High School Band Concert. Tonight is dedicated to the graduating class of 2023 as we perform our final concert as Yankton High School band members. Our concert is quite diverse tonight. We will share a few of our large group contest selections from our superior performances in early April.
Hello, I'm Caleb Phipps. We will also perform selections from movie soundtracks, a selection scored for a video game, and while we're at it, we will pay tribute to a classic rock and roll iconic band, the Rolling Stones. Our concert band is the first performance ensemble this evening, and the band is going to start things off with a Sousa classic.
Hi, I'm Abby Olson, and The Fairest of the Fair is generally regarded as one of Sousa's finest and most melodic marches, and its inspirations came from the sight of a pretty girl with whom he was not even acquainted. It was an immediate success and has remained one of his most popular compositions. It stands out as one of the finest examples of a military march. We hope you enjoy John Philip Sousa's The Fairest of the Fair. Hi, I'm Amelia Bender. Our next selection is a mother's Our next selection is a mother's hymn. When composer Robert W. Smith was growing up, he was greatly impacted by his mother and grandmother and their love of hymns. The melody, How Great Thou Art, was his mother's favorite, and he performed it often both at home and in the church, accompanied by his grandmother and on the organ or piano. The setting is in honor of his mother, Gryatza W. Smith, and mothers everywhere. Hi, I'm Mackenzie Schweitzer. The concert band's third selection is a tribute to an iconic group that, if we were honest, half the band hadn't heard of. Rest assured, Stones fans, this has now been remedied. Celebrating their 50th anniversary, the Rolling Stones are still going strong. we hope you enjoy Rolling Stones on Tour, a compilation of Paint It Black, Ruby Tuesday, and the rocking I Can't Get No Satisfaction.
I'm Alexander Donner. The fourth and final contest band selection is Selections from Moana. In 2016, the movie Moana took to the screen, sharing the story of a strong-willed young girl who is trying to save her people and their Polynesian home. This entertaining medley includes the selections, How Far I'll Go, We Know the Way, Where You Are, and You're Welcome.
before I let these guys get off the stage, I just wanted to commend a couple kids specifically here. Caden Weeman had solos in 2 of our selections tonight, so let's hear it for Caden Weeman on trumpet. Xander Donner also had a solo and did a duet with Caden and the Rolling Stones tribute, so let's hear it for Xander. And Mackenzie Schweitzer, pair on flute, had a solo as well, so. Anytime you do medleys, they're very, very challenging. You have tons of tempo changes and stuff. And when it came to this group here, and it's snowing. When it came to this group here, we had 2 new people that have never been put on trap set in an ensemble before, or maybe it was all the way back in middle school and didn't have to deal with a lot of the transitions that we dealt with. We had Margot Heron on trap set tonight, so let's hear it from Margot. And Noah Harrell as well on trap set in the last selection, so let's hear it for Noah. All right, well, give us just a couple seconds. We're going to transition and get the symphonic band up.
My name is Paige Westergren. Goddess of Fire is a programmatic work for the symphonic band that is an offering to Pele, the goddess of Hawaii's volcanoes, opening with mysterious sounds representing the volcanoes of Hawaii. We are introduced to Pele as a tall, beautiful young woman. This is one of the forms she can take, and it represents her power of creation and beauty. This gives way to the destructive Pele.
Hi, my name is Jaden. The lyrical section of the piece is the full statement of Pele's theme of creation and beauty. As this theme settles, we hear the ground pop and crackle, letting us know that new lava is beginning to bubble and flow. Suddenly and violently, one of her volcanoes erupts, creating massive chaos and destruction. After the eruption subsides, Pele's theme of creation and beauty returns again. We hope you enjoy this senior selected favorite by Stephen Reinke.
Our second symphonic band selection is Philum Vitae, which is Latin for the thread of life. This piece chronicles the emotional connection between humans and other complex life. We all need love, comfort, care, and food, among other things. We are all threads in a great tapestry, and while there is strength in diversity, we need to remember that we're more similar than we are different. We are part of the many, and there are fewer things more beautiful than that. The tapestry of being is made by the threads of life.
I'm Owen Weisler. Alan Silvestri's A Night at the Movies is our next selection. Some of the most distinctive and memorable moments in recent cinematic history have come from the pen of this highly talented film composer. Featuring familiar movie themes in a variety of musical styles, this medley includes The Avengers, The Polar Express, Night at the Museum, Forrest Gump, and Back to the Future. In that order, by the way.
All right, before these last few individuals come up, I just wanted to chat really, really quickly here. Tonight is all about our seniors. We had 14 outstanding seniors that I was privileged to work with for this last year. You know, I know Mrs. Larson had her concert last week. Last week. Yeah. The days are all starting to run together a little bit, I'm sorry. She had her concert last week, and you know, each time we have a graduating class, we're like, oh my gosh, how is this, how are we going to survive? What's gonna happen? And we know that it's gonna work, but at the same time, you're like, oh my gosh, we had great leaders, great leaders, great leaders. The sophomores, juniors, and freshmen that are in the band have had outstanding people to learn how to lead from. These 14 kids were just absolutely fabulous. I wanted to take a couple seconds and recognize a very outstanding student. Damien, can you come down here for me, please? I've been sending April messages about how I want to flunk Damien and keep him in band forever. This is one outstanding trumpet player. We don't do duets very often because he usually puts me to shame. He's absolutely a privilege to work with and so much fun to work with and so very talented. This last weekend, I got to spend the weekend with him and Mr. Carr. We had a great bonding time. And we traveled over to Rapid City for All-State Jazz Band. Damien was selected as the best jazz trumpet player out of the entire state of South Dakota. He was in the combo selection. Outstanding. So I just wanted to take a minute and let you guys know, community-wide, directors from across the state are chatting about this guy's talent and where he's going to go. Keep this name in your radar. He's going to do amazing things. His plan right now is to head into education. And oh my gosh, yeah, if he's going to be tackling education, we're going to be in fine working order. He pays attention to the details. He does. Dots the I's, crosses the T's. He's an outstanding kid. So I just wanted to commend Damien, Magnus, and Willman. Woo! I have three more people I want to say one more time. We have Damien up here again. And then I also have Cohen Peets and Isaac Peterson. These three individuals were selected for South Dakota All-State Band. Again, auditioning against students from across the entire state of South Dakota. Competition is super tight. So I wanted to commend these three really quickly here. Now you can go sit down. So again, I cannot say enough. I mean, this slide, everything that we've done this year, we've had so many successes within marching band. And it's not just about the trophies, it's about how the kids work with one another and how they encourage one another and how they respect one another and how they respect the staff. And even with jazz band, the same thing. I mean, I could throw anything at these kids with jazz band season and they would just keep digging and like, okay, let's tackle the next thing. Let's go. Let's work together. Let's do this. So this year has been an awesome opportunity for me as a teacher to work with these great kids. So parents, I thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Cora Johnson. Before we start our next song, we want to take a few minutes to thank a few important people that helped make tonight possible. First, we'd like to thank Mrs. Larson and Mrs. Belgum. We thank you for running sound, lights, and live streaming for us. Our janitors here at YHS are the best. We wish to thank all of them, especially Byron, for helping with all setup needs for every concert.
We thank the administration, Dr. Kindle, Mr. D, Mr. Campbell, and Mr. Moores for all you've done for us. Our thanks go also to Mr. Chris Schloss for helping coordinate the tech details for our slideshow.
Hi, I'm Keith Pfeiffer. We finally want to wish a thank you to our parents for being there and encouraging us through our musical journey. Your encouragement and support means so much to us. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. At this time, our senior band members have a special rose to share with our parents. And we realize it's a small gift, yet we couldn't let tonight go by without doing something special for you guys.
Hello, again. You might remember me as the guy who took over the concert in the winter concert. My name is Cohen Peets. So now we're going to go a little bit off script, which I know Wenish hates. But we're going to continue the very long tradition of seniors giving gifts to the band director, in this case, Mrs. Wenish. And so if someone brings them out so I don't have to keep talking, that would be awesome. So you're going to notice that there is quite a bit of Rango memorabilia. I just kind of want to explain that real quick. She hates the movie, and we all think it's hilarious. We think it's hilarious that she hates it. So there's quite a bit of it. The toy piano's from me. Yeah, there's a trumpet mode too. Rango disc number 2. Rango disc number 3. And Rango disc number 4. We actually bought all that was available on Amazon. And lastly, we have a giant Rango poster. It's going up tonight, don't worry. It's going up tonight.
This is amazing. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll send you all your hugs after, I promise.
Okay.
Not right now.
Now back to your normal program.
My name is Michael Horning, and we also wish to thank you, the audience, for spending tonight with us as we shared our program. The Symphonic Band's final selection is entitled Baba Yetu. Baba Yetu is a Swahili setting of the Lord's Prayer, originally commissioned as the theme song for the video game Civilization IV. Since its debut in 2005, it's become an immensely popular choral work and one of the most critically acclaimed pieces of music written for a video game, winning a Grammy Award in 2011 for Best Instrumental Arrangement accompanying, can't say it, vocalists. Please enjoy Baba Yetu.
Thank you.